Welcome to the 2022 Young Life Virtual Fundraising Banquet for Critt County. I'm Alex Blankenship, the committee chair, and this is Chelsea Long, our area director.
We're so excited to be with you tonight. Even though we're sad to not be in person, we're hopeful that by this time next year, COVID-19 will be a thing of the past and we'll be together again. But we do have a treat for your night in with Young Life. We're going to ask the question, why I Young Life? Why do you Young Life? It's a question that means a lot to me and my family because about 15 years ago, a Young Life leader named Sarah walked into White County High School cafeteria and she asked me my name. I didn't know it at the time, but her asking my name changed my life. One of the most important things that I remember from being in high school was after a volleyball game and I had hurt my shoulder and I was in the trainer room and Sarah, my Young Life leader, she came and wrapped my shoulder with ice. And that meant so much to me because I had been so rude to her that week. She had invited me to Young Life Club, the camp and the campaigners and all of the things, and to Bible study, and I said no. I honestly wasn't even kind to her, and she kept showing up anyway. I was the high school kid that had it all together on the outside. I made great grades and was at the top of my class. I had a boyfriend, played sports, but on the inside, I always knew something was missing. And then my junior year, it all came crashing down when my best friend was killed in a car accident. And I remember so vividly, it was the worst day of my life. I was broken and upset, and I look in the crowd and I see Sarah sitting there, waiting to simply give me a hug. And that was so impactful to me. I remember thinking, whatever she has, I want it. And it was from that moment on, I started a relationship with Jesus that was truly impactful, that changed my life, my kids' lives, my family's lives. What Sarah did in my life by showing up is what Young Life leaders all over the world are doing. It's what Young Life leaders here in Crittenden County are doing. We have simply looked at the life of Jesus, and we do what he does. He walked into the lives of people who were broken, people who were wealthy and rich, people who were sick, prostitutes, religious people. He walked into their lives and he called them by name. That's what Young Life leaders do. That's what Sarah did for me that changed my life. The thing that we are about, the thing that changed my life, is relationships. And in Crittenden County, there are Young Life leaders who have relationships with teenagers that will forever impact them. I don't know if you know any teenagers, but statistics are telling us that in 2022, mental health issues in teenagers is at an all-time high. Teenagers are struggling more than they ever have before because of a pandemic, because of social media, because of the pressures of college and sports, and all the things that they have to experience. They don't get to be a kid. And at Young Life, we allow them to just be a kid. We get to call them by name and know them in hopes to introduce them to Jesus Christ. Tonight, we hope to look forward for years to come so that teenagers will be called by name by Young Life leaders. I hope that one day, my newborn son and my 2-year-old daughter will have a Young Life leader who calls them by name.
How we doing, Alex? Hey, old friend. It's been a long time. Hey, you look familiar. Hey. I'm Benny. And we are the best baristas breathing. Boom. Starbucks. We used to work at Chick-fil-A. My pleasure. Before that, Subway. Eat Fresh. Before that, McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. Wow, big crowd here in attendance tonight, Alex. Hey, listen, we heard that you guys were doing some fundraising for Crittco Young Life, Crittenden County Young Life, and we kind of do fundraising on a daily basis by selling coffee. So we thought, hey, since there's a few people watching at home, we could ask a few trivia questions, and if everybody gets them right at home, we'll throw in our tip money from the day, all to the kids at Young Life. We love the kids. You guys good with that?
I mean, we hadn't planned this.
I think it's fine, but I'm out.
You're out? Okay. We'll just hang with that. Hey, all you viewers at home, this guy, the camera does wonders for this guy. He's a good-looking man, but the camera does wonders. Now, The first trivia question is this, for the viewers at home, okay? No Googling, okay? It's the honor system, okay? The first question for those viewing at home, who was the 33rd president of the United States of America? We'll give you some time to think on that. Okay, question number 2. Our beloved Starbucks, okay? Me and Benny here, our beloved Starbucks. What city and state was Starbucks founded in? We'll give you a second. This one should be kind of a gimme. You know, if you paid attention over the last few years, this one should be a gimme. And finally, question number 3, okay? There are 4 NBA teams in the National Basketball Association whose mascot name does not end with an S. Like the Memphis Grizzlies, just over the river, it ends with an S. There are 4 teams whose mascot does not end in an S. Can you name those 4 now? All right, folks, I think we've done our job here. You want a cup of coffee?
Yeah, I would.
Benny, should we get him a cup of coffee?
I think so.
Hey, we've also brought instruments. Do you want us to play it all?
I mean, we hadn't planned for it again, but...
Hey, listen, folks, we're going to go get him a cup of coffee. We're going to come back with our instruments. My boy Benny's got a little song he's been working on. I've been popping on the payatas there. We're going to get it going. Listen, I'm Benny. And we are the best baristas breathing. Boom, 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 boom. Starbucks!
This is Siobhan. She's an elementary counselor at Bragg. She has a daughter that attends YoungLife. Why do you YoungLife?
Well, the reason why I let my daughter attend YoungLife is because she had a youth counselor that was talking about it the year before and talking about how amazing it was, and I trusted both YoungLife leaders, and my daughter absolutely loved it, and she loved the experience.
This is Lissa. She is a retired school teacher and also a monthly donor for YoungLife, and has done a lot of volunteer ministry work with Campus Crusade for Christ. Why do you YoungLife, Lissa?
I received Christ as a college student. Even though from growing up in church, being president of the youth group, found out I did not have a personal relationship with Jesus. And came to know that the Lord sent Jesus for me, to die for me, and to rise again so that I'd have a richer relationship with Him. And want other young people to have that same opportunity, a safe environment with people who love them and who surround them just with God's Word, with fun, something they can carry with them into the rest of their life in eternity.
All right, this is Livy. She's in 11th grade at Marion. She's been coming to YoungLife, and she's been to camp last year at Windy Gap. Livy, why do you YoungLife?
I enjoy YoungLife because it gives me a different perspective of like Christ.
Maggie is a high school Spanish teacher at Marion, and she has 2 kids that have been involved in YoungLife. Maggie, why do you YoungLife?
I YoungLife because as a parent and as a teacher, I like to see different groups of students from different backgrounds come together for fellowship during the week. They have a great time, they have dinner together.
Rita is a local real estate agent and is a volunteer, helps with the Banquet, and is a monthly donor for YoungLife. Rita, why do you YoungLife?
Well, the main reason I want to keep YoungLife here so they don't go anywhere. So that's the reason why I want to continue to sponsor and support YoungLife. And I see the difference they make to have teenagers in our area. A lot of more opportunities to learn about God and Jesus that no other organization can, in a very refreshing and fun way and creative way. And my daughter used to be with YoungLife, so I see the difference, and so I enjoy helping them.
This is Danielle. She's a 5th grade math teacher at West Memphis, and she's been a volunteer leader for Young Life for 5 years. So Danielle, tell us, why do you Young Life?
I do Young Life because I love getting the opportunity to share the love of Christ with our high school students here in Critt County. And being a Young Life leader for the past 5 years, I've gotten to know these girls by being their soccer coach, their Sunday school teacher at church, by being their friend on occasion, and then also their old 5th grade math teacher. Young Life has not only allowed me to go alongside these girls as they hear the gospel for the first time, but it's also allowed me to walk alongside them as they're growing in their faith.
This is Kennedy. She's a sophomore at West Memphis. Kennedy, why do you Young Life?
I Young Life because I wanted to get the opportunity to get closer to God, like with my friends. And my Young Life leader also got me to be involved, and I've just grown closer to God through like my Young Life leader and being able to do that with my friends and share like fun memories with them.
This is Jonathan. He is an owner-operator of Chick-fil-A in West Memphis. He's also serving on the committee for Young Life Critt County. Jonathan, why do you Young Life?
Well, I think for me, one of the neat things about Young Life is I remember being a teenager and just in that really impressionable and influential time of my life. And I think it's really important to build a community around and a support system around teenagers at that stage. And this is just a great opportunity within our community here in Critt County to do exactly that. And so for me, that's why I am involved with Young Life.
This is Bryce. He's a senior at Marion High School. He's also the baseball manager. He's been coming to Young Life, and he went to Young Life's Windy Gap last year. Bryce, why do you Young Life?
Hang out with my friends, my girlfriend, we talk about Jesus.
This is Jordan Long, a teacher at Marion High School. He's also a volunteer leader. Jordan, why do you Young Life?
Yeah, so I Young Life because 12 years ago, I walked into a room full of Young Life leaders, and I really felt like I belonged. I had people, for the first time in my life, really wanting to build a relationship with me just for who I was, not to get anything out of me or anything like that. And so through relationships with Young Life leaders, it made me want to do the same and to give my life away to Jesus, but also to high school kids and to build relationships with them. And so why I keep doing Young Life is because I want to keep telling high school kids about Jesus. I want them to know the same love and same mercy that I receive every day, and that those friends gave me 12 years ago.
I have the amazing privilege of introducing one of my Young Life kids. This is Kinsley Lowe. She's a 10th grader in West Memphis High School. So Kinsley, tell me about your first Young Life experience.
Okay, so the first time I went to Young Life, honestly, it was a little weird because I didn't know anybody, even though it was, kids in the area. But only person I knew was my Young Life leader, and I just was I'm very social, but like it's hard to just talk to people you don't really know. Like, what are you gonna talk about? Like, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about camp, your camp experience. How was that?
Camp was so fun. I got to meet people from all over, and that was the fun part. I got to meet a lot of people, and everyone was so nice. And the Young Life, I can't think of the room, but
club room?
Yeah, club. We all had so much fun singing and dancing, and it's just like everyone could be their self at Young Life camp.
Hey there, everybody. I am so excited to be able to come to you to just have a brief part in the Young Life Banquet for Critt County. If we are friends already and you know who you are, it's good to see you. I'm glad to be here, although I can't really see you. If we have not had a chance to meet, let me just introduce myself. My name's John Beaumont, and I currently am on Young Life staff in a little town called Kirkwood, which is right outside of St. Louis, Missouri, so just a few hours north of you. Before that, I was on Young Life staff in Marion, Arkansas, for what we called then Marion West Memphis Young Life, and I was on staff there. So I'm so excited to be a part of this for you. I'm so thankful that Chelsea reached out and asked for me to share a little bit for this banquet video. And all she said to me was just tell people, why do you Young Life? And I can put it down to two reasons, really. And the first is this. Before I came on Young Life staff, I was actually the pastor of First Presbyterian Church in West Memphis. And a member of my congregation, Randy Caldwell, many of you remember Randy fondly, I'm sure, came into my office. Randy had actually had polio as a younger woman, but because at the time they weren't sure about vaccines and all of that, so she didn't get it, so she couldn't walk. And so Randy drove a scooter everywhere. So she rode her scooter into my office, and she said, do you know Young Life? Do you know about Young Life? And I said, well, I wasn't really a part of it when I was in a high school, but I knew people were involved with it, and from what I know, it's a good thing. And she said, well, we need it here in this community. Her kids, who were older at the time, but when they were in high school in Memphis, they were involved in Young Life, and Randy just noticed the change in them, the impact that Young Life had on them when they were in high school. And she told me, as I drive home from taking them to school out to Proctor, which is where she and her husband Doc lived, I would drive by West Memphis High School. And every day I would drive by it and I would pray that Young Life would come to this community. So Randy shows us two wonderful things that we all can do. Pray and act. Prayer and action. They actually go together really, really well. They're very symbiotic of each other. And so that's one thing that we ask all of you is to pray about being a part of this, to prayerfully consider in a heartfelt, humble way of being involved in the story of Young Life in Crittenden County, so that more and more high school kids can hear about Jesus, can more and more can be offered the opportunity to come into a relationship with Jesus through one of their Young Life leaders. To pray about that. What type of role do you want to have? I promise you, Chelsea will be able to find a spot for you. But I would say pray to be a leader. Be one of those people that's going into the lives of high school kids, earning the right to be heard, and sharing this greatest story that there's ever been. To be on the committee, to serve on the local board, which is really the backbone of Young Life in a community, to serve on the committee. Also to be a donor. Young Life needs your dollars. Every area in Young Life all over the country, we're all self-sufficient, which means that all the money that it takes to run the ministry in an area is all raised locally. There's not some big pot of money just sitting out somewhere that Chelsea gets to go pull some out of. It all has to be raised. So I would ask you prayerfully consider one of those three or all three. There are plenty of people that do all three. But then act on it. Pick up the phone. Send Chelsea an email. Get involved. Don't wait for her to call you. Get involved. Take the initiative to become part of kids' stories truly for eternity. So one reason why I do Young Life is because of Randy, who prayed and acted. The second reason is more of a personal way, and that it's when I learned more about Young Life, I realized that it just fit my understanding of the nature of God's people. That God's people are a sent people, sent into the world, into our mission field, into the places where He is not known, where we are sent to tell other people by our words and our actions simply about who God is and who Jesus is and how we as people, and specifically high school kids, how we fit into that. I'm reminded of a text that the Apostle Paul wrote to the church in Rome, and this comes from Romans chapter 10, starting at verse 13, when it says, "For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. How then will they call on Him in whom they've not believed? And how are they to believe in Him whom they have not heard? And how are they to hear without someone preaching. And how are they to preach unless they are sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of those who preach good news. The they in some of these verses are those 2,000 students at Marion High School and West Memphis High School, respectively. Kids who are living in darkness, kids who are living lost lives, they just don't know it. Need to hear the gospel, but how are they going to hear it unless someone is sent? And that someone might be you. That someone might be you. And how beautiful are the feet of those who bring good news. A couple of words of encouragement along the way is that if you have had kids, and there's a lot of kids that have come through Young Life over the last few years, if you're one of those parents whose kids have already graduated from high school, now is the perfect time to get involved in Young Life in Critt County. You haven't graduated from helping out that way. So we asked you to consider leader, committee, donor, or something else. Or maybe you're parents of young kids and you're like, hey, my kids aren't going to be around, they're not going to be in high school for years. I'll wait till they get to high school and then I'll get plugged in. I can promise you the best way that you can get involved in Young Life to assure that Young Life is around when your kids are in high school, get involved now. Don't wait. I promise you, you will be glad that you did. So why do I Young Life? I Young Life because a woman prayed and a woman acted. I Young Life because God's word says you are a sent people, a chosen priesthood. Go and share the good news that has saved your lives. Go and share it with high school kids. Go and introduce kids to Jesus and help them grow in their faith. So one day, someone might come to you and say, why do you Young Life? What will you say? Thanks for your time.
Hey, it's been a wonderful evening, folks. We hope you had a great time viewing at home. We're going to keep playing. We're going to scroll through our sponsors here. We want to thank them. You'll see their names on the screen. Please do some good business with them. And if you see them out in town, give them a hello from Benny and Benny. Thanks for coming to the Young Life Crittenden County at Home Banquet. Have a good evening.
Hi, my name is Ginger Nimmons, and on behalf of the Young Life Committee, I would like to give a heartfelt thank you to our corporate sponsors. Without you, Young Life could not thrive in Crittenden County, and some of our teenagers may not get that chance to go to camp and hear who Jesus Christ is in their life and what He can do for them. So thank you so much. And I'd like to give a special shout out to our Gold and Platinum corporate sponsors. Thank you to CEMS Ambulance Service, Chick-fil-A, Farm Bureau Insurance, JR&K Printing, Mitchell Family Medicine, Simona Blankenship Photography, Trans One, and First Presbyterian Church in West Memphis. Thank you so much. We appreciate your support.
On behalf of Crittenden County Young Life, we want to say thank you. Thank you for allowing us to chase after teenagers and call them by name. We hope that we're able to do that for years to come.
Will you Young Life with us?
Y'all are pros.
Wait, I don't know if I stopped that.
3, 2, 1, go.
Danielle is a high school. Danielle teaches math in 5th grade.
Okay.
This is Siobhan. She's an elementary counselor at Bragg. and she has a daughter that attends Young Life. Yvonne?
Siobhan. Now Yvonne.
And
Yeah.
okay.
Cut.
I'm trying to think.
Perfect. Done. He nailed it. This man's a pro.
Okay, so I'm never gonna know if you've actually